Is also why I think so many couples with children give child-free couples shit. Because I think they feel intimidated that two people could connect and like each other enough to stay married, to stay connected without needing to have children to connect them.
Oh my God, this video gives me life. Okay, go watch the whole thing. It's so good. I have a few things I want to say. First of all, I didn't get married until I was 42. Best decision of my life. And even though people who have known me for most of my life know that I have never wanted to be a mom, ever. As soon as I got married, people were like, so, I'm like, so what? And some of them just straight, they're like, sir, are you gonna like have a kid now? I'm like, ew, no. Why would I do that? And they're like, okay, just check. Now, I know that some people, maybe once they find a partner, they realize, oh, maybe I did actually want to be a parent. Or maybe when they find a partner, they let their partner convince them that they should act, that they want to be a parent when they really don't, which that's a tragedy. But I think the world needs couples like us who are just have no interest in having a child. The world doesn't understand why a couple would be together and not have a child, especially, a cishet couple, right? If that's just what you do, that's why you do it, to have kids. And what I love about that video is it's pointing out one of the reasons why we make so many people uncomfortable. And I really think it's because a lot of people are like, well, what's going to tie you together? If not investing in a permanent commitment forever, something that's literally going to be the most stressful thing in your life and will take up all your resources and your time and will actually maybe want to drive you to divorce. What on earth would you share together, And I'm like, honestly, neither one of us want kids. If we had a kid, it would destroy our marriage because neither one of us wants to be parents. Our relationship is based solely on what we do together and how we build each other into better people, how we have so many common goals and visions, and we literally just love hanging out. Like, it's that simple. We don't have to create a child to make it, worthy. And I honestly think it's like an act of resistance to not have kids. Even if you find someone who you believe would actually make a great parent, but you don't want to be a parent and they don't want to be a parent, it doesn't matter. If you don't want them, you don't want them. And I really think that a lot of this, so I looked it up, by the way. Thank you I Googled it after I watched that, the whole empty nest syndrome. In my opinion, first of all, I understand, like one of my best friends is dealing with this right now, grief and all that stuff from her kid going off to college. But at the same time, she's so relieved to have her life back because the kids take up so much of your life, and moms especially are the ones who are expected to give up everything to take care of these kids. So I'm not saying it's not that grief isn't real, but the syndrome, it's not real. There's actually a great article on Medium, but it's behind a paywall, so if you're not a member of Medium, you probably can't read it. But this woman totally calls BS because it's like, yeah, okay, it's usually like the moms, like the whole term was created to explain women's experience with kids leaving, not men's. I mean, literally just Wikipedia. It was introduced in 1914, but it was made popular in the 1970s. The whole thing was even talked about because it was about how it affects mothers. And also if it's a stay-at-home mom versus a mom who's employed outside the home, because stay-at-home moms are employed, have the hardest job in the planet, and are the most vulnerable to abuse and men taking advantage of them. Parentheses, that it definitely affects moms who have a job outside the home and a life outside the home. And I'm not saying that fathers don't miss their kids when they go away, but because of patriarchy and the way women are conditioned to literally put everyone before themselves, to pour into everyone but themselves, especially men and children, but especially men first. And then in addition to that, if they are a married single mom, which so many women are, of course they're going to have empty nest syndrome. Once their kids are gone, what is left? A lot of women feel like a shell of a human because everything has been invested in taking care of those kids. And those kids have been a huge distraction from how much their husband sucks. So once the kids are gone, they're stuck with this dude that they actually hate and they're resentful at, and who still expects her to take care of him, even though he did nothing to help parent, does nothing to help support her in general. And he's just like, yeah, cool, now all the attention's on me. I mean, no wonder it was called a syndrome. That sounds like a nightmare. I would love to see some research. I would love to see the numbers. I don't have time to research it myself. If y'all want to share, go ahead. I would love to see how much more depressed women are when their kids leave, if they're a single married mom versus a mother with an active partner who's parenting. I mean, honestly, I grew up with a single mom. She couldn't wait for me to leave. Honestly, as soon as my sister's the oldest, my sister left, and then she just had me, and then it was like, done. She was free. But the difference between her and married single moms is that she didn't have some king baby at home now that she's stuck with, that she can't stand, that she has decades of resentment towards. My mom was like, yes, I get to live my life. She was dating. She's got a whole new life. She moved to Kentucky to raise cattle. She's been on this adventure ever since I left. And so the thing is that married single moms facing empty nest syndrome to me is more about facing the reality that you don't know yourself, that you haven't poured into yourself, that you literally you have either completely disconnected from yourself or you never even got the chance to get to know yourself because men and all of the kids took up all your time and energy. And as scary as that is to look at, that can also be a beautiful thing. So many women, as soon as the kids leave, they leave their husbands and then they live their best lives ever. They're like, wow, I love to ballroom dance. Oh my God, I love climbing. Like some of these moms, once they're done with rearing kids, they become a whole new person. They finally step into their own. The only thing that I find really tragic about that is that they could have done that long ago. Because if there's one thing among many things, but the thing that I most respect my mom for and appreciate my mom for is the fact that she did not center dating. She did not center men after my dad left. I mean, he left when I was like 4. She seemed to have intuitively understood that not only is a man the most dangerous thing she can invite into the house, but a man in our house would most likely mess us up more than help. And so she focused on us, and she focused on her friendships with all of these other single women. She focused on her career. At a certain point, she dressed up like a California raisin in trash bags and did a dance. Like she had like a little life outside of us too. I was like, wow. So even a single mom oftentimes knows themselves and is closer to themselves. And even though they have the burden of being the sole parent, even they are more in touch with themselves than these single married moms because they don't have another child, a giant king baby sucking the life out of them, right? Without a big king baby or just a worthless man in the house, any spare time they have when the kids are asleep or when the kids are, at camp or I don't know, whatever. Anytime they have a break from those kids, guess who they're pouring into? Or if they have serious codependency issues, which a lot of women do, they end up trying to save the whole world. And that's not healthy, y'all. The only other instance of empty nest syndrome that seems to be a leading cause of it is women who become too attached to their kids, too involved in their kids' lives, especially their sons, because they're too afraid to get to know themselves. And on some level, y'all, that's emotional smashed. I swear, if the one thing that women can do to fight patriarchy is to go in, pour into yourself, because literally everything we've been taught, and I'm sure it's different across cultures too. So I'll speak personally here. The message that I got from patriarchy and being raised by a king, not being raised, but by being born to a king baby, is that everything is supposed to be about them and that I'm supposed to lose myself and not be connected to myself. So my work, my healing, the most important part of my healing for decades now is learning how to get in touch with this. And luckily I have a husband, and this is one of the reasons why I married him. He understands that and literally on a regular basis says, center yourself. Babe, center yourself. What do you want? What do you need? How do you feel? Forget about me. Forget about them or whatever the situation. Forget about them. What do you feel and think and need? Because this stuff is so deep. It's so hard to get this out of me. It's so hard to get this messaging out of me. Surround yourself with people who do that, who remind you of that. Because one of the main ways that patriarchy continues, again, patriarchy is tied to capitalism, white supremacy, and all these terrible things that we're in. I believe one of the most important revolutionary acts for women right now is to pour into themselves and learn how to take care of ourselves first so that we can give in ways that are healthy instead of codependent and to stop enabling these king babies.